Hello and welcome to the most incredible marketing show ever. I'm your host, Craig Deline, and today we are with my friend and expert marketer and Dan Kennedy Certified Independent Business Advisor, Dan Cricks from Ohio. Hello, Dan.
Hello.
So if you're listening to this on our podcast, we're recording this live on YouTube. We're trying something different. And today we are going to deal with a topic that we know very well that, of course, I learned and Dan learned when we were independent business advisors. But it's really Dan Kennedy's No BS Rules for Marketing Success. And the thing you need to know that, if you don't use these principles, these rules in your marketing, you risk poor results. And I have a little excerpt from Dan and in this book, No BS Direct Marketing for Non-Direct Marketing Businesses, which I recommend highly. Dan says, from now on, every ad you run, every flyer you distribute, every postcard or letter you mail, every website you put up, anything you do must adhere to these rules. He does say, to be fair, they are simplistic and dogmatic, and there are reasons to violate them in certain situations. However, sticking to them as a rigid diet will work, and you can experiment later after you've first cleansed your business, of toxins. So, what do you think about that?
Well, that's spot on, and for a good point there that sometimes there are reasons, and especially for people who aren't in the realm that we are that have been doing this for a long time, a lot of them have a difficult time with some of the rules and adopting them, and they're just not sure. So. If sometimes, and I know a lot of times when I first start working with new clients, I have to cajole them a little bit more to follow some of these rules because
Yeah.
it goes contrary to what they're used to. They're used to the brand advertising and image advertising, and so they're not used to a lot of these. So, but the thing to remember and you've been doing this a long time, Craig, as have I. These are proven. This
Yeah.
is proven to work. And so that's the key. We're not giving you some new theories here that you
Right.
should go out and try. This is a great thing. Give it a try. This is something I use daily in my business
Yeah.
and I use with my clients. And yeah, there are at times where you might break a rule or two, but the more you can stick with them, the better your response rates are going to be.
Well, I equate them to a recipe for success. If you're gonna try to make grandma's famous, you know, what's it called, tomato gravy, right? For those back east, those Italians back east, you know, to get it just like grandma used to make, or as close to, you have to follow the recipe. You have to, like, hey, 2 teaspoons of sugar. Don't add three, add two, right? Or if it says use salt, don't use garlic salt, use regular salt. You got to follow the recipe to get the result you're looking for. Once you get that result, then you can tweak it to your own. But again, you test to find out if it works or it doesn't work. So that's what he means by that when he said, they're simplistic and dogmatic and they're adjustable, but first get it down. Start using these principles in your business to get the results you're looking for. So,
Exactly.
so let's start with rule number one. Rule number one says there must always be an offer or offers. What does he mean by that?
Well, so this is different than what I just mentioned about brand advertising or image advertising. Those are meant just to get your brand out or your image out. And I don't know if you remember this, but a few years ago, Pepsi spent multi millions of dollars changing their logo.
Yeah.
Remember that?
You.
Multi millions of dollars in business. Okay. How many of us smaller, medium sized businesses can afford to do those kinds of things?
Right.
So if you're going to put an ad out there, you have to have an offer of some kind. Okay. Uh, and one of the things that does is let them know that they can buy.
Right.
Okay. And so give them an offer and don't assume that just because you put something out there that, oh, okay, that let's go see what I can buy. You have to make them an offer. And here's the thing that some people get caught up with when we talk about that, Craig, is they translate give them an offer to put something on sale.
Right.
Okay. And that doesn't have to be necessarily. I've worked with some industries lately that have been very, very good. COVID was very, very good for them. We run ads and we put offers out there, but it doesn't mean they're on sale.
Right.
Okay. It's an offer. The pricing may be the same, but call us now to schedule this or go here to buy that. So an offer is critical for you to be able to get some results.
Right. What you were talking about, Pepsi and, big, stupid, dumb companies, Dan calls them, right? The ones that have millions in their budget to advertise and promote and leave it up to an advertising agency to run it. And the mindset behind that is they'll run it so many times on TV and different media that when a person goes to buy something of that type of product, they'll think of that product. That's what it's really thinking about. But for the person like you and me and the other small businesses watching this, we don't have millions of bucks to do it. So everything that goes out has to matter. It has to count. And, that's good call on that. Let's see. Let's touch on rule number 2, which ties into rule number 1. There must always be a reason to respond right now, right? Not put it off, not wait till you're ready, but there's a reason right now to respond. Talk more about that.
Yeah. So like you said, not to put it off. Most people, if you allow them to, they will put it off.
Yeah.
Okay. And what happens? They get this in the mail, they get it in their email, they see it on social media, and they go, let me put that aside. I've got other things to do. And what happens? They're just like you and I. They have a life. Okay. And it gets forgotten. And if we don't try to get them to respond right now, chances are they won't. It'll get put on the back burner and boom. Okay. It's forgotten. We can't assume that that's going to happen. They have a lot of things on their plate. And sometimes as business owners, we forget. We're thinking about our business all the time, 24/7, right? As entrepreneurs, some of us go to bed thinking about it. Some of us, but our consumers and prospects are not. Right. To our dismay, they're not. So we have to get that in front of them right now.
So
go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but why would there be a reason right now? Give me a couple of reasons why there would be a reason to respond right now.
I'm glad you asked that question.
Well, you're going into that anyway.
Almost like we rehearsed it, right? But we didn't, folks.
No.
So you might give them a bonus. So there's a number of ways to get them to respond right now. So something that we've used in the past, and I know I'm going to mention things that you've used as well. Give an extra bonus, a valuable bonus to the first 10 people who respond. Right. Or 15 people or 20, whatever your number is, depending on your business.
Right.
Okay. Another thing that you can say is a special bonus or something extra for anyone. Let's say you had it out today. Anyone who responds by the 10th of the month. Okay. And again, one of the reasons for that is to get them to take action now. Okay. And one more way that we do that is we can say, hey, and it's funny, I finished a letter earlier this morning for a client that we're sending out. And one of the things that we're put in there is we have a limited quantity of these at this price.
Right.
Okay. So it's a first come, first serve. Don't wait. Right. Call us now. Okay. And those are 3 ways to make that work, to get them to kind of stop. If you say, hey, and Craig, I've had people respond to me and go, I'm sure all the special bonuses are gone by now, but okay, I'm going to order anyway.
Right.
And sometimes I'll say, you know what? You just happen to be number 9 of 10, so you're going to get that bonus.
Right. Right. There must be always a reason to respond right now. I get this offer from a very, very smart marketing group organization, and they have made an offer once for this one product, and I've wanted it, but it just wasn't priced yet, or there wasn't enough bonuses, or the time was off. But yesterday it came in and it was a no-brainer. It was 95. It was half price of the sale price that they had done it before. So it was, literally about 87% off the regular price. And so since I had wanted it for so long, but I didn't need it, it's just something I wanted. I said, yeah, no brainer. Boom, got it. So they gave me an offer that I couldn't refuse. And so that's part of the, there always must be an offers, and there must always be a reason. Right now, it's like, make it a no brainer. So it's like, boom, I'd be stupid if I didn't respond to it right now. I'd be a fool. Right. So good description. Good description.
Yeah. And go back to the Sports Illustrated. Remember when they had the football phone?
Right.
Okay. It was a bonus if you sign up. More people bought just to get the football phone. Okay. They didn't care as much about the magazine. They wanted that cool football phone. And they,
we also got the swimsuit issue at the time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so they brought the football phone out right before football season started.
Right.
And so there's another thing that it may not have even been as valuable. And here's part of the reason for doing some of that, Craig, and this, is they know the lifetime value of that client.
Right.
And so if they sign, maybe that football phone costs them as much as they're going to make on your subscription for 6 months or whatever it might be. But they know what percentage of their clients stay well past that 6 months or whatever that is.
Right.
And they know a lot of them, once they get them signed up, they're going to stay.
Right.
And just about the time they might drop off, here comes the swimsuit edition. Okay. So they know those numbers, and they can afford to do that because they're going to recoup that.
Right. Right. And you just mentioned something else. It's like, why would you give away so much stuff to acquire a new customer? Right. And even though it's not one of the rules, it's certainly it is one of the fundamentals of Kennedy style marketing. And that is, you invest to keep someone for a lifetime, for whatever the lifetime is, whether it's 6 months, a year, 20 years. Like with my members, I invested a lot, I gave a lot, and I give a lot away for free because they have stayed with me for so long. It's worth it to nurture the relationship. I know they're going to be with me for a period of time. Can you talk a little bit about lifetime value?
Well, sure. And again, part of this is you have to know your numbers.
Right.
And so what they will, for example, I have consulting clients. I do a lot of consulting and coaching. And I have clients that sign up with me. And Dan and Bill pointed this out to me a while back. I didn't know, and I didn't pay attention, that the average amount of time my clients stay with me is much longer than the industry average.
Right.
Okay. So I know how much on the average that they stay with me. Let's say it's 6 months, and it's well past that. But let's say it's 6 months, and they're paying me $500 a month. I know they're worth $3,000. Okay. Right. Now, the other thing is, but you take that with your average, okay, and multiply that out. Maybe it's only $100 for you, but they stay 3 years.
Right.
Okay. And so it's $3,600. And then there are the other things that, and this may be part of the reason mine stay longer, is there are things you can do if you watch your numbers and you know your numbers when they drop off to prevent that from happening.
Right.
And we had a lot of success with that. We had a client, and I don't want to mention her name because she's very well known and I didn't get her permission. You would know who she is. But when she came to me, that was her problem. She goes, I can get them in. I do a great job of getting them in.
Yeah.
She goes, but I can't keep them past 3 months. They drop off. And so I helped her put together a campaign where we were sending them something about 2 weeks before that 3 month time period came about.
Yeah.
Okay. And we call it a stick campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Get them to stick. Right. And so, again, you can manipulate that and that helps increase your average, and that determines how much you can spend to get them and or what you may give that new customer to get them on board.
Right. That's valuable. That's valuable. Thank you so much. Let's see. Let's go to number 3. You must give clear instructions on how to respond. Oy vey. How many times have we tried to do? Who do I call? Where do I go? What do I do? Talk more about that.
Well, yeah, and it's surprising how many times that mistake is being made. I've seen ads that people have spent good money, put out there. There's no way to respond. And at times they forget to put their phone number on when that's how they want them to respond. Okay, but sometimes, yeah, that's happened. It's sad, but it's happened.
Yeah.
And the big mistake a lot of people will do is they'll put an ad out and then they'll just put their website there.
Yeah.
Okay. And they don't tell them, hey, go to our website and click on here.
Right.
Okay. I'll tell you something else that really, really helps responses. Like if you want someone to call you, if you can say, call Katie now at 555, okay? Right. Because people prefer to, if they can call in and say, can I talk to Katie? That makes them feel better because they don't want to get that. And this happened to my wife once. She called up a business about, she wanted to order a special they had. And the person on the phone said, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
We have a lot of specials. And then he says, if you can go to the website and tell me where you saw that, maybe I can find out what it is.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it was scary. And so you have to tell them exactly what you want them to do. And in today's world where patience level is very low, they don't want to go to your website and try to figure out what they need to do next.
Right.
Okay. And even I've seen it where they'll say, call this number and click on option 1. Because what's another aggravation for a lot of consumers, and especially when they want to spend money with you, is they call a number and then they have the phone tree that they have to go through, that they have to listen to.
Yeah.
Push number 1 if you want this. Push number 2 if you want this. And the thing that you want is number 5. Meanwhile, you're sitting there listening to all this and getting frustrated. And right. What are the odds that how much more are you going to get someone who's frustrated to spend with you or less than not?
Right.
So the instructions and the clear instructions are very, very important. Something that I like to do, some of the campaigns that I put out, I'll tell people, hey, email me if you're interested in this, if you'd like to take advantage of this, email me and put a certain line in the subject line.
Right.
Okay. And then I know right away, I have my staff alerted. If they see that subject line, boom, let's get to it right away. We did that recently with a free 20-minute one-on-one call with a client. And a lot of times when people are looking for something like that, they feel a need, an urgency. So the quicker we can respond and get to them, the better off it is. Right. And so the more clear, concise instructions you can have, the better.
Yeah, one of the excuses or the hesitations for people to do this is, not just for this particular rule, but for this type of marketing in general, is my target market is too sophisticated for this. I don't need to tell them what to do. They know what to do. Talk a little bit about talking human to everybody, being clear to everybody.
Yeah, well, that's a big mistake that a lot of people can make. Here's the thing. People are people are people. Right. And we see this a lot. A lot of people want to market B2B differently than they do B2C.
Right.
And what they forget is that owner of that business is a consumer, a person just like you and I. Okay. Right. And in some cases, I feel I have to be more concise with them because they have so many different things going on. Right. Exactly. And the other thing is, like you said, my clients are a little too sophisticated for that. All the more reason, because again, a lot of them have several things going on. They skip read. They don't need to read everything. Okay. and sometimes I'll repeat something 3 times. I put a campaign together for a client one time, and it should have killed it. And when I asked him how it was going, he goes, "It's not going all that great. It's not as good as it should be." I said, "Well, what did you tell me what you sent?" He goes, "Well, I changed what you sent me a little bit because my clients are a little too sophisticated for that." That was exactly what he said.
Right.
And I said, "Change it back."
Right.
Change it back. And when he did, it worked like it should.
Right.
So don't fall into that trap. Okay. You know, a lot of people think attorneys are very sophisticated, and I'm not saying they're not.
Right.
But I once had an attorney jumping up and down because I named him Client of the Month in my newsletter.
Right.
Okay. He was an attorney.
Right.
So you'd think there would be something you would need more to get them excited, but that's all it was.
Right. A lot of them work by themselves a lot. So it's like, Bill says the successful entrepreneur is the loneliest person in the world. And if they're successful, or if they're pretty much, it's them and maybe a front desk secretary or a legal assistant or whatever. And they need recognition too, just like all of us. So,
Yep.
All right, let's move on to number 4. There must be tracking, measurement, and accountability. What do you have to say about that?
Well, to me, this is critical. And this is something that, and I mentioned it earlier, if you know your numbers, you know the lifetime value of your client. That's part of the tracking, to know this. And so there should be, your ads should include trackability aspects in your ad. Trackability, is that a word? I just made it up.
Now.
So there needs to be things in there. So a lot of times you'll see on TV ads, call this number or go to this website and put code nighttime or whatever it may be in there. And they do that so they can track. Something else that you can do is, you can buy phone numbers that you can track pretty inexpensively.
Right.
And so we've run campaigns for clients where they called in a specific number so that when that call comes in, they know it came from that ad or that campaign. Right. Okay. And a lot of those programs will tell you how many calls came in. And what's really nice is some of them will tell you if 100 calls came in, 70 of them were answered.
Right.
30 of them didn't get answered. Someone's dropping the ball. Okay. And that's important. The other thing, reason why it's so important, Craig, is, and it goes back to our very first one, we don't have, small businesses and medium-sized businesses don't have a budget to waste a ton of money.
Right.
Okay. And so we need to know what's working so that or what's not working. If it's not working, let's do something different or possibly tweak it or what have you. There's times when I've done webinars and I track every 5 minutes what the count of attendees are. And I go back and look, and if I see it minute 35, I had a big drop off, I'll go back to my presentation and see what I did at minute 35. Right. Okay. That apparently turned them off. All right. And so, again, you need to know that. I had a client in Florida a while back that was running an ad in a media that was starting to go bad. Okay. A lot of our clients had quit working for them. And I told him, I said, this hasn't worked for a lot of people. So we're going to keep a close eye on it. We're going to continue to track it. As long as it works and you're getting a return, we'll continue to do it. Right. But when it stops, we want to stop, because he was spending hundreds of dollars every month on it. Right. So we don't want to keep putting that money in. And a lot of people put something out there and they just let it run. Right. Okay. And if they're not tracking it, they're going to get burned. And I did this myself when I had a retail business. I put an ad on the back of a register tape of a very popular store in my area, a retail store, right? And man, we were getting those in like crazy. And I was like, wow. I mean, 20 a week, right? Yeah, I was excited. And then I said, I don't ever need to do anything else but this. Well, not so much. When I went and actually dug a little deeper, okay, my sale price was a loss leader type thing, get them to come in for $17. The average sale on those people that were using that coupon was under $18.
Yeah.
I was losing money.
Wow.
And what it turned out to be was I was just giving a discount to my customers.
Right.
They were aware of it. So when they were due to come in, they would go over there and do their shopping and get the coupon and bring it to me.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. So I quit doing that when I realized what was going on. And part of learning my Dan Kennedy information helped me with that. I went and put that same ad in a different media, okay, and raised the price a little bit. My responses went way down, but my average spend went up over $100 per response.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but if I wasn't tracking numbers, I would not have known that. I could have wasted a lot of money for a long time.
Right. Wow. What gets measured gets improved. So that's powerful.
Yeah. And there's a lot of ways that you can track, and I've had fun with it at times. Like at Thanksgiving, we would run something and tell people, hey, give us a call and say turkey. When you call and say turkey, we're going to give you this special discount when you come in.
Right.
Well, people were doing that. Some of them they would call up and go, gobble, gobble, gobble. And there's nothing wrong with having fun in your business.
Right.
Right. And letting your customers have some fun. Around Christmas time, we did something and say, if you call and say, ho, 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 we're going to give you this.
Right.
And people were calling up saying, ho, ho, ho.
Right.
And so we knew when they did that, it was coming off of that ad.
Right.
And that's what we wanted.
That's great. That's great. Let's see. Let's get up to number 5, which was mentioned earlier in our opening here. And that is, whatever brand building that occurs will be a happy byproduct, not bought. Why is that important for the entrepreneur, the small business owner who doesn't have $1 million budget?
Well, here's the thing. They need to get a return on every dollar that they've earned and invested in that ad. And right. So, you put $1,000 out there, and for a lot of people, they're going to say $1,000 on an ad or a campaign, that's not much. That's a lot to lose.
Right.
Okay. If you're not getting something bad, and you mentioned it early on, generally that brand or image advertising takes a while to take hold. Okay. Right. For you to see results from it. And we talked about get them to respond now. We need the business now. Okay. Right. If I put an ad out, I want to get the responses now, not 3 months from now. Okay. And for some businesses, they might not be around that long. So that's a long term. And he mentioned a byproduct. You can do that. So for example, with my coaching business for my auto repair shop owners, I was given the moniker of the been there, done that repair shop marketing guy, right? Okay, that's what one of my, and I even have it on video. It's pretty cool. Okay, him saying that. He said he's the been there, done that repair shop marketing guy. Well, I had put that out there a lot of times, and now he was regurgitating it. And we included that in our ads, in our campaigns. It was part of it, but it wasn't the central theme of it. There was also direct response ads as part of it. And so that's what I mean as a byproduct. If you're out there enough, or your logo is out there, or your what am I looking for? Your USP is out there. Right. Okay. Your USP, a lot of times, if you include that in everything, that can be your brand.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to, while you're making ads, while you're making offers, while you're giving people to respond right away, they're still seeing your name, they're still seeing your logo, they're still seeing here. And when they see your USP, which you mentioned, unique selling proposition, to repeat, that's Dan Kennedy's copyrighted question: why should your prospect, choose to do business with you versus any and every other option available to me, including doing nothing at this time? If you have a powerful USP that answers that question, the brand is going to create itself.
Exactly.
If you're following these rules, the brand is going to happen on its own. It's just going to happen, because we're not saying place one ad and leave it, forget it. You got to obviously have a campaign and have this run, whether it's, a one-time campaign, a seasonal campaign, a monthly campaign, a yearly campaign, whatever. So yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah. And with that in mind, that's one of the reasons I created that USP, the been there, done that, to let them know, hey, I was one of you.
Right.
I've been where you are. I understand what you're going through, and I've done it.
Right.
So here's not somebody sitting back saying, oh, you should be able to do this, and they never did it.
Right.
Okay. And in that industry, in that auto repair industry, that hit home with them.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but yeah, the USP, and you mentioned in a campaign, I'm a firm believer in campaigns versus ads.
Right.
Okay. So a multi-step campaign, and maybe we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But on every one of those steps, your USP or your brand or your image can be there. Okay. Yeah. And once you've hit them 10 or 12 or however many times, it starts getting ingrained. And that's the byproduct that Dan talked about.
Right. You know what, Dan, we're running out of time. Could I invite you back to do a part 2 and we tackle the other 5 rules? Because there's 10 rules that we need to cover. Would you come back next week and we'll do another YouTube Live?
Yeah, I think it's great. Besides that, we don't want to give them so much to digest here.
Right. With what we just gave them, their business can transform itself exponentially. So, but we have 5 more rules that we just don't have time to share. But listen, this is the most incredible marketing show ever. If you're watching this or listening to this for the first time, we have a gift for you at mostincrediblemarketingshowever.com. It's a free gift from all our previous guests. And Dan, you have a gift there as well. And as well, by the way, whether you know it or not, you're sponsoring this episode. So the been there, done that marketing guy is the sponsor for that. Just they'll see that information there. But if they wanted to reach out to you directly, how would they do that?
Well, there's a couple of ways. One is they can email my staff, info@greatresultsmarketing.com. That's info@greatresultsmarketing.com. Right. Or they can call my office, 440-783-1651. And if they mention that they saw me on the Greatest Marketing Show or mention that on the call, I'll give them a free 20-minute one-on-one call to see if we can help. And you made a good point there, Craig. Just these 5, if they just go in the next week and implement these 5 that we've given them, it can make a huge difference right away for them.
Yeah, amen. Amen. Just one, but if you had 2, 3, 4, or 5, all 5 of them, exponential growth. Exponential.
Exactly. Yep.
So just to be clear, Dan, we're the most incredible marketing show ever, not the greatest marketing show ever. Most incredible.
I was a big circus guy.
Hey, aren't we all? So just a reminder, if you want a free gift from all our guests that we've had on previous, including Dan, go to mostincrediblemarketingshowever.com. And we meet every Wednesday live here, but every Thursday our podcast is uploaded to all your favorite podcast sites. But you can watch us at youtube.com /@ Most Incredible Marketing Show. Dan, thanks again for being here. And if you're watching or listening to this, thank you for watching and listening. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.
Thanks, Craig. So long, everyone.